All right, welcome everybody to your Friday afternoon session. I wanted to hang on to, I'm sorry, not hang on, but I wanted to do a afternoon session because I wanted to cover the markets because it's clearly extremely volatile. Lots of just crazy movement. The first thing that I want to talk about is if you guys remember this marker right here, 38,225. We pinged that very perfectly and we got sent back down pretty hard, right? So obviously this kind of volatility will scare anyone because you've basically gone all the way from 38,700 to a low of currently 34,500, right? So it's going to scare the pants off anybody, and it makes sense. Now there's only really two ways to look at this, okay? Either this short squeeze to the upside is real and this retracement is going to hold and we're going to push further, or this whole thing right here, this green candle, was a trap. It was a trap in a sense that it squeezed out shorts to the upside. It trapped a bunch of longs up here, me included, and we're going to now start rolling down. But that rollover to the downside is yet to be seen technically, because on the way down, we also have some key SR levels to, support us, right? Number one being this marker, which is 35,870. The second one being 35,000 flat. That's really it. Other than that, I mean, this is the next big support level right here, around 32,300, right? So one of the reasons why I have my stop at 33,000 is, I mean, in no way in hell should we even think about coming down here, because that would mean way too many people are selling and way too many people are trapped, and maybe even the sellers on Coinbase or other markets or other exchanges rather are relentlessly selling. And so this is one of the reasons my stop is at 33,000. Now, same thing goes with altcoins. There's just a whole lot of blood that was just spilled over the last, several hours, right? But once again, you kind of got to keep in mind is if this big pop up, whether it's Ethereum or Bitcoin or other altcoins, were they just a trap, or are we just going to, have this big pop, retrace, and then be on our merry way back up? It remains to be seen. Point is, I'm in a position, I have my invalidation levels, and that's it. That's all I can do, right? How am I ever going to know that, we were going to get trapped right here? All I can really do is if I see an opportunity to buy on the way down, I'll add to my position. And if I get squeezed out of the market to the downside with a long squeeze, then it is what it is. That's life, right? That's markets. This, for those of you who have been trading for the first time in crypto, like I said, welcome to the jungle. Right? I even stated this maybe even a week ago or a week and a half ago when we started seeing this downside volatility. I stated that it's going to get pretty crazy going into month end and for the next couple of weeks, because there's only two ways, in my opinion, that we're going to make our way out of this area. Okay. And this area, I mean by this zone right here that you see. Either this whole thing is a mini choppy area, a reaccumulation zone, and we're going to just start driving up price. And this thing, movement right here is just noise before we make our way up. Or this is a larger distribution zone that's happening where price will chop around here and you will have violent movements like this, up and down, and then back inside the range, and then do some garbage like this and then start dumping, right? I mean, in the simplest sense, it's like either up or down, right? I don't mean to make it sound so obvious, but that's literally it. It's either you make this area an area of reaccumulation and you start pressing up, or it's candle spikes like this that become scam wicks by the end of the day, and maybe tonight, tomorrow, day after, this thing just starts rolling over to the downside. Or maybe we just hang out in this zone right here and still make our indecisive movements inside this area without actually having done anything. And so at present moment, it's possible that the market is also still trying to figure out what the hell it wants to do. And both players, the bulls and the bears from both sides, are pressuring the market on both sides. Now, short squeezes like this generally are supposed to start accelerating movement up. When you have a short squeeze and a strong, harsh rejection at a key level like this, and you start slipping down, it becomes a very slippery slope, because what you've effectively done is, yeah, you got the short squeeze in and you smash right into a key level, but then you trapped a whole lot of people right here. And guess what? If those people don't get that price to come back up and start popping up higher, they're going to sell here or here or here or here. Or they might, just hit a stop basically down here. So that creates a cascading effect of price just falling like a waterfall further and further and further. And then price basically comes back into this range right here. And then after that, it'll again decide if in this range, does it want to go into a reaccumulation pattern or if it wants to break down further. Okay. Is that clear so far? So what you're experiencing right now, if once again you are new to these markets, is when markets get aggressively overbought or oversold, or aggressive volatility happens in the markets, don't be surprised if it goes both ways at the beginning of the day and the end of the day. Meaning it might pop up $1,000 or $3,000 like it did beginning of the day, which is our morning time or my morning time. And then in the middle of the day, it does some garbage like this. And who knows, maybe by the end of the day, it ends up back up here. That's what happens, in extremely volatile conditions. Some of these conditions are actually being shaped by things externally. It has nothing to do with crypto. It's things beyond crypto, such as congressional hearings that are happening regarding Robinhood, regarding retail trading, regarding the whole GameStop situation. And now Coinbase had to stop their US dollar purchases, their US dollar deposits. What was it? Binance also had to stop. I know I posted that link earlier. I don't know where I've posted it, but it was also somewhere in here, I think. Right. Binance basically stopped their deposits or something, their withdrawals. So there's just a whole lot of garbage that's going on around the space that should kind of tell you that, okay, maybe you might need to pause, maybe you need to size down your position, or who knows, maybe if you need to get out of the market and you can't handle this volatility, that's also okay. All right. Now, regarding our positions that we took in the morning video, I mean, as you can see, clearly shit has completely hit the fan, right? I entered Link, I entered BTC, and I entered ETH. Okay, ETH, as you can see, I entered at 14.23. BTC, I entered at 37.816. And then Link, I entered at $24.10. It's like I basically bought the top, but it's not necessarily buying the top, because for the most part, I was hoping that the bulls would actually take the breakout and break it up further, but they didn't. And now I have my invalidation set in place. If y'all remember, I posted this just an hour after I made those trades. I have my stop on BTC at 33,000. For ETH, my invalidation is 1,300. For FTT, it's $11, and for Link, it's 20. Okay. If I get stopped on these are pretty deep stops. That would be really, really bad for all these altcoins and BTC in the near term. Because like I said, if we were really supposed to start breaking out, we should have had follow through. You should not have come down this much. I mean, this is some terrible price action that you're seeing right now. Okay. So hopefully by the end of the day, some point today or tomorrow, hopefully we resolve it. If not, things could get really ugly, right? Things could really start spilling over to the downside really fast. And that was something that I was afraid of until this morning. Only until this morning did I start noticing, okay, well, looks like maybe we short squeeze. I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to the bulls and go long. Well, as you can see, once again, in this entire range, every opportunity that the bulls were given, they've completely pissed it away. The bears at this point also pissed away their opportunity to send price down, but it's also possible that maybe they lifted the pressure because the buying pressure was heavy and the bulls were able to squeeze the shorts by doing something like this. But then the bears came in, defended their positions at these levels, and they started selling the price down further. Okay. Are we clear so far? You guys kind of understand my my mindset right now? Yes, I want to be buying the dip, and I already have, and BTC leverage long right here, right? And I'll be honest, the kind of dip that I bought so far, well, it should not have stretched this deep. These were some key levels that should have bounced right near this blue marker. This looks like relentless selling. Now let's kind of go to Trading Light and check that out. Okay. Because what I noticed this morning was sellers started to come in, where was it? Like somewhere around here. I didn't think anything of it because I thought, okay, well, it makes sense that we had such a huge squeeze. Maybe we retrace. But now it looks like after I came back from lunch, I mean, the bears are just relentless. They're not giving up and they're not stopping. So here's some of the order books that we could pay attention to, right? So Finex, let's see, ETH USD. Okay, so let's do ETH size. Let's do BTC actually. And let's do Coinbase on BTC. And we'll set that to 1, okay? Let's see what's going on. Not a whole lot, I guess. Let me see here. Let's delete this and then let's see. Okay. Okay, so it looks like very small orders. Okay, now we're starting to see greater than 1. Okay, let's see. Because earlier I saw a 1, 5, 10 BTCs being sold like every minute or 5 minutes. But now it looks like, okay, Coinbase is kind of, putting in that buying activity. Now you don't really know if these are just retail or if it's, some big whales who are going to relentlessly keep buying or selling, at every minute, every second. It's hard to say unless you see it methodically happen like every minute or every second. Okay. And that they're pretty uniform orders. Like it might be, 1.5 or 5 or 10 in batches that happen. So that's what I pay attention to generally. And then sometimes what will happen is as prices come down, you then see an aggressive wall just stack up with a 10, 50, 100 BTC, and that further suppresses price because the other algos on the buy side, they kind of panic or freak out and they don't want to go butt heads with that wall. And then you'll see that buying activity disappear on the buy side. Doesn't really look like anything is going on that front, but looks like this is just, a bit more of a methodical sort of selling that's happening over and over again, all the way down. Okay. Now let's check out CVD. Not on, actually, this is kind of interesting too, because generally what you see is on Coinbase, CVD, which is the cumulative volume divergence, that's generally trending up. This is interesting. So this implies this downwarding slope right here is implying that there's some decent selling happening. Now, over the last few minutes, from here down here, that has kind of alleviated. So this is a good sign based on Coinbase buying and selling activity. So this might be at least a bottom or maybe a temporary bottom. That might be the case. Now let's check out BitMEX real quick. Let's see what BitMEX is doing. I mean, definitely some pretty bad negative delta here. Maybe a base being created just like Coinbase earlier. Not a whole lot to tell, but I do see, buyers and sellers stacked on both sides. So it's hard to say who exactly is going to win out in this battle. Some huge walls lined up right here, around 31,000, but it's only one. So I don't know. It's getting very tricky right now. I'd probably say it's going to be probably a volatile weekend. The interesting thing about this is this did not escape other parts of the market. For example, look at Apple. Right, Apple saw big selling going to today. Other companies that I pay attention to, Palantir, also saw selling, and these are some heavy growth stocks. They should not have seen this kind of selling unless like market as a whole is just de-risking today. It doesn't mean it has to happen tomorrow or Monday. It just means like today the market is just flipping shit and it is just selling everything that they could get their hands on, whether it's Square, whether it's Apple, whether it's Palantir, whether it's Bitcoin. I mean, hell, silver also saw selling too. So it's like across the board, there's selling happening. Now, the other thing that I want to mention is I know there's a whole lot of GameStop conversation going on and all these funds getting liquidated. See, I wouldn't be so happy about all these funds getting liquidated because remember, if they need to raise cash regarding their other liquidations or short covering that they have to do in their market, guess what they have to do? They sell everything else to be able to cover their shorts. So for example, if Melvin Capital was losing $3, $4, $5 billion on their short position GameStop, and they have positions in gold, they have positions in Apple and silver and Bitcoin even, or Ethereum, well, they'll sell all those and they'll start covering their short positions in GameStop. That is how the rotation of capital works. And that's why I really did not want this kind of news attracting towards crypto markets, because it's not all positive. Yeah, you might get some Robin hoodies here and there, or some Wall Street bets people. But at the end of the day, retail can only drive up the market so much. You still need institutions behind their back to keep driving up that price and propelling that price. Okay. So I don't know. It could have been really not a great thing, this whole thing, the way it's unfolding right now for Bitcoin or crypto, because right now it looks like shit. Okay. Let me see. Will says the SEC put out a statement. They said SEC pledges to punish abusive activity in the wake of GameStop stock trading. They warned today of extreme stock price volatility and will review any actions that disadvantage investors. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a lot of positives, I think, that are coming out of GameStop story. But there's also a lot of like dumb takes, if you will. And I definitely don't want those dumb takes attracting attention, or especially regulatory attention, to crypto. Because we've already gone through the regulatory scrutiny in like 2018 and 19, and even 2020. Like, I'm over it. Let us pump the market, guys. So, I'm hoping that markets kind of calm down, news flow calms down, people forget about this whole GameStop garbage, and we move on back to the bull mode of crypto, which honestly would have been the case had it been the idea that, we would have based out here, right? The perfect situation for this is base out, sell off, trap people down here, and then start making our way back up middle of February or end of February or March. That would have been the ideal situation, but we're not. Now we have a bunch of baboons who probably thought crypto is the place to go into, and now you have more scrutiny and maybe more eyes on crypto, and that to me is just really annoying. Let me see. Yeah, daily candle looks extremely ugly, but we still have like 6 hours to go, or I guess four hours or so to go. But yeah, this is, I mean, shaping up to be an absolute disaster of a short squeeze. This is like the buyers thought that they already won the war. But in fact, they won like a piddly fight. And then the bears came in and said, hold my beer. And then they just tank price down. And this is really, really shaping up to be an absolute shit show right now. So I would urge everyone to be careful. I know it's looking really ugly. Please do size your positions properly. It's exactly for situations like this, right? When bulls get too cocky and you put in a $3,000, $4,000 candle, and you start talking about, breaking out and starting to target 50K or 100K or whatever, or you thought that, Wall Street Bets was going to come save you. This is the stuff that happens, until you get confirmation and confirmed breakouts. Like, just, remember, crypto is very volatile, and you have to account for swings like this. So I really hope no one got hurt. Even my position size, as you guys very well know, in our 5K account, I've been pretty transparent showing you guys my positions. We had about $11,000, $12,000 in collateral. I'm levered up $24,000, $25,000. So no more than 2x my entire account, right? So as you can see, this is one of the reasons why even, in situations like this, yeah, it'll suck to be stopped out, or it's sucking right now to see my positions bleeding. And by the way, I'm definitely down a lot more than this P&L shows, because that was like 2 hours ago or 3 hours ago. So I'm down a lot, but it's an acceptable loss even if I get stopped out. And that's what matters at the end of the day. Okay. Okay, what else can I cover? What am I missing? Shoot me some questions. Take a sip of my water here. Okay, let's take a look at DOT. I know a lot of people are in that as well. Okay, so DOT has obviously held up pretty well, right? Good sign. But indeed, even with DOT, there's going to be some potential fallout, especially if BTC starts breaking down. And here it goes, right? I mean, this is basically shaping up like one of the ugliest candles Bitcoin has put in, over several weeks now. But it is what it is, right? So with DOT, if it were me, as long as DOT, let's do this, stays above this previous consolidation base right here, and that marker is $14.50. I think because DOT has this backing from Grayscale and not Grayscale, what was it, Pantera Capital, and it's becoming one of those, better than ETH, kind of like an ETH ecosystem. It has huge upside potential even from here. It's just, it might suck if this level starts breaking, and then the next big level to watch out for is like way the heck down here, about $10, $11. I don't think DOT will break it, but then again, I also didn't think that Bitcoin would look like this in a matter of hours. So, just be prepared, right? If you need to take profit, you can. If not, if you think that DOT is a hold for 2021, kind of like I am, hanging on to some of my FTT and my serum going to 2021, well, you kind of just got to go with the swings. You just got to hang on to your position, rely on your thesis of what you've done so far, and go with the flow. Okay, don't be scared. Don't let the market shake you out of your positions. All right. And volatility like this, by the way, folks, I mean, I'm not saying it's all positive, but in many cases, if you still believe that the market is bullish and you think going into the next few weeks, the next few months, or 2021, you believe that price is going to press much higher, then double down on your positions. I mean, not investment advice. I'm just saying, like, believe in your own thesis. okay? Because you're not going to get buying opportunities like this very often. Fear like this, when it's instilled in the market, comes very rarely. So if you want to be a buyer of the blood, you get opportunities like this. But also remember that you may have to pay for the downside too, just in case things do start breaking and you are not accounting for, more downside than you're anticipating. Can you have a look at API 3? Very similar link. I keep hearing about it. I really don't know much about it, so I'm just gonna go kind of like this. Okay, so I think the first thing that I kind of see is this kind of movement. So as you guys very well know, in bullish markets, like I've said before, right, when you have sort of this, head and shoulders being created, but the head and shoulders fails, and it starts moving price up like this, I mean, these are extremely bullish conditions that you can long, okay, if you choose to do so, that is. But if it starts breaking down, then things get a little ugly. You might come back to this level right here around 375, or this key high that price broke out of, okay? But yeah, this thing looks pretty good. I don't really know how exactly, the OKX volume is compared to other exchanges, but it looks relatively decent. So that's not a bad sign either. I don't know much about the fundamentals, so I won't even comment on that. Daily looks okay. Nothing great, but nothing terrible either. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That's all I got for API 3. What else? Any thoughts? If it gets rational, where Doge could retrace to? Oh man, yeah. I don't know. I don't know where the rationality of Doge comes in, because my God, I mean, it popped like 3, 4, 500% or something, right? Let's see how much it went up. Maybe 1,000%. Holy shit! Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, I think we got to dig into like 15-minute charts, because I don't know. It popped up so hard so fast. So let's see, right? So the best way I think we can sort of measure out Doge is something like this. Okay, so I put my marker right there. This was the last consolidation, big pop, squeezes out this low, and then moves up, right? Once again, retest that same marker, pushes up. So I think this is probably the first important marker for Doge. Let's see what the other markers are. Maybe something like right here. Sort of. Yeah. Maybe this one. Yeah, this one looks a little bit important. So resistance pops up, or resistance right there pops up, sells off, tries to reclaim it, fails. Resistance right there pops up, support, breaks down, rejects it, fails, rejects it, breaks down. So, okay. So with Doge, right, the trade here to take is probably above this marker if it holds. And then I target this blue marker, and then whoops, the blue marker could probably be stretched out to back here, and maybe this blue marker, okay, if that holds right there. If you want to short it, I mean, this is probably the short, and your stop has to be above this wick right there. I wouldn't really short it, but if you want to, you can. The other opportunity is wait for price to pull back, same to this marker, maybe a wick down here, let it reclaim that, and that's your long, and you take that trade to this black marker or the other blue markers that I just showed you. The thing about markets like this is when things, whether they pop up huge to the upside or the downside, it's not necessary that things have to just go straight up and straight down right away. Sometimes you have good choppy volatility like this. If you want to play the internal ranges in here, you can. I prefer trading trending markets, but once again, if you want to play the markers I just showed you, there will be opportunities there. I personally think that the best opportunity that will probably be available in Doge is, if you start seeing heavy selling and you want to buy the blood, say, I don't know, just below this wick or just below this area right here. This is the key low. And I'll put this marker right there so y'all can see the importance of that low. So this was previous resistance. Fake out right here, sells off, consolidates, and then breaks up. So if, let's just say, Doge has a crazy spike down here, again, maybe it doesn't go that low, but if it does, you buy that opportunity and you take that trade back to this first black marker, which would be then resistance on the way up, and that breaks, then this one. And that's probably, let's just say from here to here, it's a 50% trade. From this blue marker to this second black marker, that's 115% trade. So you can see there's definitely opportunities there. It's just a matter of where do you want to be a buyer, and then how do you want to trade this asset. I think the first time I see you chart Doge, I know, I don't know if I've ever charted Doge before, but it's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, hey, market has sold off aggressively, but like I said, you might get some very unique buying opportunities, right? If you choose to buy. But gosh, I mean, this thing looks like it really just wants to break down. My goodness, it looks epic. Let's see. Let's check out pivots too. You didn't even blink. Like, it just came to this R2, rejected the R3, broke the R2, and then sold off. See, I love using pivots in situations like this, like especially on the 15-minute time frame. It's the most, phenomenal thing to utilize pivots, because you could trade from level to level if you want to be a scalper. If you start seeing invalidation, say you want a clean chart like this, and you just want SR levels drawn from pivots, sometimes they work really well, right? They work really, really well. Z and Elon scam pump. I know, right? I swear. Damn, they messed up our pump. I do want to talk about one more thing before I wrap it up, okay? So, once again, it has not paid to be a bear in this market, all right? And by no means am I going to advocate for my bias shifting towards bearishness. But I do believe that in this area right here, this pop right here almost reminds me, eerily reminiscent of this. If you guys remember, way back in the day. You guys remember this? Remember this? October 2019. Huge squeeze, right? Again, you have to keep this in context with, our current price action, but huge squeeze, and then sideways, and then slow bleeding all the way down. And when squeezes fail, the area where they originated from, like this, right? We usually take that area out. So guess what that means for Bitcoin? That means that on a 15-minute basis, if we're wrong that this squeeze was supposed to be bullish and we don't press out further, like say from here, you don't start breaking up, we're going to take out this low. And if we're taking out that low, that means we're getting stopped out. And if we're taking out that low, prepare for just an absolute boring freaking February, because it's going to be a lot of sideways movement in this area. Market trying to figure out what the hell it wants to do. Maybe it even flushes down even further. Who knows? Okay, but that's what I would say. Let me see. So I would say, in situations like this, just be very careful. All right, just be really, really careful, folks. Don't give back your winnings to the market. Chaos says, due to the outside factor of Elon, can we just ignore today's Bitcoin price action, pretend the weekend came early? What are your thoughts on this? Or do you think that the price action is all PA and must be accounted for during your TA? Well, I do believe all price action should be accounted for, because having a squeeze like this is like a multi-billion-dollar squeeze. So it definitely means something, you know. Question is, I mean, is there a follow through after the squeeze, or do we just keep bleeding down? And that is unknown as of yet. All right. So yeah, I do believe it's important to keep in mind. But additionally, I think you very well know, like I pointed out, silver selling, Apple selling, Square selling. I think gold was also selling, if I'm not mistaken. No, gold is up. But even look at gold, right? Look at this is literally the same thing. Gold had its own little short squeeze. Look, it took out this key high from 8 days ago, squeezed up, sold off. So everything across the market was pretty well coordinated. This is the same kind of short squeeze that gold just had, and it came back inside range. Okay. So this is a very widely coordinated movement. And when movements like this are coordinated, that means bigger players in the market are anticipating certain things, whether they're going to break this market up further or they're going to sell it off further down. To go from 32K to 38K, wouldn't they need over 100 billion? No, they or he or she or whoever, you don't really need that much money to squeeze the market. Remember, you have to just set the fireworks and light them, and then everybody else starts panicking. Remember how a short squeeze works, right? You just have to trigger price to move from here to here. And then the rest is just fuel on the fire by stops right here, stops right here, stops here, 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 and here. This was all taken care of by everybody else, but the initiator probably started their fireworks down here. Everything else was taken care of just by market momentum. Okay? Because remember, the way short squeezes work is when price starts going against you, right? So say you have a stop above this area, or say a liquidation point, and you have a stop above this area for your short, or this area, or this entire area. What happens? Well, when you are short, you're betting for the price to go down. But if you want to get stopped out, or say you get liquidated, what are you exactly betting on? Well, not betting on, but rather what are you hoping for? Well, you're hoping that the market stops you out. So how do you get stopped out in a short position? Well, you have to sell your short by buying an equal long on the other side. So if you're selling your short and buying a long right here, once you get stopped out, what have you just done? You just bought a long, meaning you further accelerated the market and added fuel to the fire. So every single stop that it hit here and here and here and here, all those shorts are the reason why the market moved up so much. That's how short squeezes work. On the higher time frames, this could shape up to be the retest of the descending triangle. Yeah, so I see that too. But once again, this is the trend line of the descending triangle. This is where we are. We should have actually bounced off the triangle, the top of the triangle, and pushed up. But boy, we are like really inside that triangle. Like, I mean, it's almost like this was a huge fake out, So anyway, very hard to sort of show any form of bullish presence here. And once again, we have the 4-hour pivot right here too, which is right around 33,000 flat. So if that hits and we get stopped, at least for today, my trading will be a little bit more limited, because then that means like I anticipated something completely wrong. I got trapped, and I'm not going to take a trade until I figure out what the market was intending to do, or what it intends to do going forward. And just FYI, okay, if you guys look at this now, okay, so if we go here, right, you can still technically draw a triangle, a descending triangle like that. Shit. What's going on? you can still draw a triangle like this. Just stretch it out further. Oops, how do you draw it? Okay, the triangle not going to be drawn like that. I guess then I'll just do this. Okay, this is still a descending triangle. You know, it's just now this low got squeezed out, and now we have this area as a lower high to, you know, account for in this larger triangle. Can you guys see that properly? Let me see if I can make a new chart. I don't know what the heck is going on. Let's just go to Finex, right? What I was trying to say is, you know, this whole thing, right? We had the triangle kind of like this, but now, I mean, you can still draw it like this, and you can say, all right, well, this is still the base right here. This is still the filling of the triangle, if you think about it. You know, you have a low right here, lower high, low, low, lower high right there, and possibly, you know, breaking down further from here. Okay. I don't think that's going to happen personally. I'm trying to give the Bulls as much credit as I can because, I mean, the Bulls deserve it, right? They've created this huge run. There's no reason for me to think that the top is in, we have to sell off further. But on the flip side, when you start getting cocky and you don't think that the top can be in, you know, that's also when like the top actually might be in, you know, like I know we were kind of just discussing this earlier today. I had posted in here, what was it? Alt news info. Yeah. So I talked about, you know, this Ethereum futures, right? I spoke about how this is coming up on February 8th, ETH futures. In 2017, Bitcoin hit $20,000 and that was mid-December. And Bitcoin futures opened up literally the same day as the top happened, or maybe 24 hours later or something, right? It just seems kind of very, you know, timely for things like that to happen, especially when market conditions, you know, are shaping up to be kind of like disastrous, where you're spotlighting stuff happening in the retail investing and trading parts of the market, congressional hearings and SEC regulators looking at crypto trading activity and stock market trading activity. It's just, I really wish this GameStop thing would have just like stayed, you know, for a day and it would just disappear. But now we have to kind of deal with this garbage. And like I said, you know, you have this broad market selling because broad market means that bigger players in the market are anticipating something. Either they're anticipating risk or regulatory pressure or maybe interest rate hikes. I really don't know, but they're anticipating something. And you see de-risking across the board. I mean, nothing really was safe today. Equities weren't, commodities weren't, and crypto for sure wasn't. The only thing that was probably freaking safe was the US dollar, which is still kind of just consolidating and flagging, right? I will say again, one more time, right? It's very hard to determine that even with the noise that we have out there, that, you know, we can claim this as the top. It's very hard to do that. And personally, I refuse to do it because the clues are kind of stacking up, but like the price action is still in development, right? Like, I mean, things don't necessarily have to dump down from here. If it does, I mean, it would almost be poetic, right? Because poetic to the point where you knew ETH futures are coming up, you knew the market is overextended, you knew that SEC regulation and their eyes are on the market. It's like we knew all this stuff, yet we continue to ignore those clues. And this is one of the reasons why, you know, even in my main account, you know, I didn't jump the gun and rebuy back everything. I did so in my 5K count, and that may look like a mistake, but you know, it is what it is, right? Let's see here if there's any other questions. A linear scale, we are sitting on the trend line. Oh, okay. I did not check out linear, so let's do that. Let me see. Okay. Okay. Bit of a stretch to draw it on the trend line, but yeah, I guess if you stretch it down enough, I don't know. I'm sure you can draw it many different ways, but I think the point is like, it's such an aggressive sell-off, we really should not have come down this low, and that's all I can really say. Like, if anything, maybe we should have bounced off this level at most, but even there, we just closed a 4-hour candle under that, and we have now another 4-hour candle opening below it. So yeah, let me see. Oh, let's check out one more thing. I want to check out the on-balance volume on Coinbase. Let's do it over here. Oops. So here's the OBV. Let's see how that's shaping up. Okay. See, this is where things get interesting on the OBV. And I remember OBV is on balance volume. It's kind of like the delta volume that I showed you earlier, which is over here in trading light. When you see, more buying versus more selling, right? That means that the OBV is ticking up. Here, the OBV is telling you that there was heavy selling going on, and we took out the previous low of this previous, buying activity that pushed this up. So in essence, this is kind of saying like, okay, there's a whole lot of selling happening right over here. All right. And who knows, maybe there's more follow through to be had, down further. Because OBV has already come down to these levels, the lows almost of these levels down here, which is the lows of this. And that's particularly important because that's effectively saying that lots of selling is going on. And this is spot. Remember, this is Coinbase. It's not BitMEX. This is not FTX or Bybit. This is spot activity. All right. What else we got? Okay. Is there any other questions, or shall we wrap this up? All right. Well, that's it, folks. That's all I got for y'all. Thank you so much for joining in the middle of the day. I know everybody has stuff to do, but I figured I'd give y'all an update on things happening in the market. So, yeah, that's it. Take care and cheers.